We're excited to be able to host. I mean, one of the big reasons our administration built this facility was for weekends like this, and we have an unbelievable fan base, a beautiful ballpark, and we have 3 other great teams here for the weekend. It should be an exciting weekend of baseball, and we're ready to roll.
Again, questions for Jake and Jared. Again, Ryan over here's got the microphone. Raise your hand, and if you would, address the student athlete that you want to answer the question. We'll start here with Steve in the middle.
Jared, this time last year, I don't know if you'd have made the travel roster, and now here you are on the dais for the NCAA tournament. What has the last year meant to you?
Yeah, so coming back this year, I know I've said a lot that I wanted to come back and kind of prove myself to everyone here, to myself, and I feel like I've partially done that, but I think the postseason is the real season. It's the biggest part of the year. I feel like proving yourself really can't be truly done until you do something in the postseason. So from last year, knowing that I probably wasn't going to be a big part of it, to this year, hoping that I play a big role in our success, it's been a big difference, something I'm very happy about.
Let's go ahead and get it here to Ben here in the front.
To either of you guys, obviously there's NCAA tournament banners and things like that out on the outfield now with the tournament being hosted here. What's the feeling like walking out to do Noble and kind of knowing the postseason finally here?
It's awesome. I mean, obviously this is my first experience of hosting. Jake's experienced it before, but I feel like it's something that the fans deserve, that this place deserves, with how much they support our team, college baseball in general. I think it's going to be an awesome weekend.
Yeah, I couldn't say any better myself. The fans deserve it. We built this stadium for this reason, and I think it's going to shine this weekend. I think people are going to show up, people are going to be loud, and it's going to be Mississippi State baseball for 3 days.
Okay, we'll get it back to Steve here.
Jake, for some of these teams, this is their first NCAA regional experience, but it's your 4th. How does that experience, you feel like, help you kind of prepare for this?
It helps, I just said when we walked in this room, it kind of gives you flashbacks to 2016. This is the first time I've had a press conference in here since we got put out by Arizona in the Super Regional Dome. Kind of taking practice today, kind of had the same feel as it did in Southern Miss 2 years ago, the same feel it did in Tallahassee a year ago. It's different, They take away, the scoreboard's completely different. It's all NCAA. Like you said, the banners, all that's NCAA. So it has that postseason feel to it, and it's something. All we got to do is go out and play our baseball, and it's going to be a good weekend for us.
We'll go to Joel here, second row in the middle.
Jake, last year you guys in Tallahassee, y'all were kind of, I don't want to say you didn't have anything to lose, but you were kind of the underdogs a little bit and things, coming into this year's national seed kind of thing. Just, is the pressure different? I mean, do you feel any differently about it? Like, how do you think this club will handle not being a team that, doesn't have anything to lose, being a national seed?
I mean, it's not really pressure, I mean, we get to come out and play baseball tomorrow. I get to put on the uniform again tomorrow. Jared gets to go out and pitch tomorrow. It's the same thing. It's the same thing we've done all year, but it's just something we just got to come out and do that we always do. And that's really what we're kind of, relying on, is that this is what we do every day, and this is what we came to college for. You come to Mississippi State for the big stage, for postseason baseball. You don't come here to not make it to Hoover, to play in Hoover and be done. You come here to play postseason baseball and for that chance to get to Omaha. Last year you can't really compare anything to last year. Last year's over. Last year was a very, very crazy ride. This year's gone a lot smoother, and we plan to keep it that way.
Go ahead, Ben, in the front.
Jake, I know I asked you this the other day, but Jared, with this being seniors and being able to play at home for the regional, obviously you've got to do this weekend first, but potentially down the road too. What does that mean to be able to have a couple more weekends at Noble?
Oh, that's very special. Senior day, I think I was able to kind of keep myself together, knowing kind of in the back of my head that we were probably going to be able to play a couple more games here. So knowing that I have a little bit longer to be able to soak in the atmosphere, all the fans, and just being able to be with my teammates at our home is very special.
Again, questions for the student athletes. We'll get the microphone to you. Anybody else have any questions before we let the players go? All right, we'll let the fellas.
Thank you guys for having us, South State.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and take questions from the coaches here on the dais again. Like the student athletes, please address which coach you'd like to answer the question. We'll start with Steve.
Coach, pitching plans for tomorrow.
That didn't last long. We're going to throw JT again tomorrow. So JT will pitch the noon game tomorrow against Southern.
Go ahead, Steve.
How would you assess Elijah McNamee's progress at this point?
He's had a really good week. I mean, he's been swinging since Sunday, running around, ran at full speed today. So he's really close. I think he's got a shot to play tomorrow. I don't know in what capacity. DH, right field. There's still some pieces that need to see him play in a real game and move around, but better than expected, I would say that.
We'll go to Brett here to coach's right on the second row.
Do you know who you'll go to in game 2?
Yeah, it'll be Ethan Small.
Okay. And as you kind of get into this, what about your lineup has kind of, we'll put it this way, what has your lineup prioritized over the last day or two of practice after struggling with runners on in Hoover? Has there been a rededication to a specific approach?
No, we're the same team. We got great hitters. We have hit all year. We're one of the top offenses probably in the country. And we played a funky 17-inning game, and then we locked in with a really good pitcher in the Vanderbilt game. Yeah, in the last game, we got away from us, played from behind. But I like where we're at. Like, I have a lot of trust in our players, and we just got really good players, veteran players that have played in this. I look forward to seeing them play this week.
Go ahead and get it to Ben here in the front to coach's left.
Coach, you mentioned those veteran players. Obviously, you got kind of a small senior class, but one that plays a big role. I mean, how much can you lean on those guys in a sort of the postseason?
As a coach at this point, and you let loose of the reins, and it's a player-driven. The teams that get to Omaha and the teams that play great in the postseason, they're player-driven. And we've really been player-driven since the day I showed up on campus. We have a great culture inside our clubhouse and a huge expectation of what they want to achieve. And so I've been a part of that, but we have, like you said, great leadership, great seniors, guys that have been there and done it so many times with their backs to the wall even. I mean, they've just performed over and over.
We'll stay on the front with Logan.
Chris, as you've been able to study Southern a little bit more over the last several days, just what impresses you the most about their lineup?
It is top to bottom, almost everybody hits, and they put a lot of pressure on you. So you're going to have to defend the steal, defend the bunt, play good defense, and pound the strike zone against them.
Again, questions for the coaches? We'll go back to Steve.
Kyle, Southern runs the bases exceptionally well. How do you kind of scheme for that and kind of prepare your catchers for the Southern running game?
I think you just talk about it. Make sure they're aware that, they got guys from top to bottom that are going to run, whether they're on first or second or even have a first and third situation. Just preparing them, knowing that, hey, you're going to have to be able to be ready to go from pitch one to the last and get in good position, ready that you think they're going to steal at any time.
We'll go ahead to Robbie to the coach's left.
Coach Cheese, we saw Dustin the other day, 17 innings, pretty remarkable to catch as long as he did in that game, but for Luke to come out and do what he did as a freshman the next night and give you a solid backstop there, how well do you feel about those catchers at this point?
I feel great. I mean, Luke, if you watch us lately, Luke's had a couple opportunities to get in there and catch and done a really good job. I mean, like I said, I think him catching Ethan Small and whoever, he's caught JT again his entire life. So those guys have done great. They prepared just like they're going to catch every single day. I know Dustin had a 17-inning game there where we just felt like it. We could give him a break and come back and catch that next game if we needed to, or he could if he wanted to. But I think Hancock's been doing excellent behind the plate, and so we give him the opportunity. He did well.
Just to go on record, I wanted Dustin to catch the next day, but I got overruled. So Dustin couldn't walk, so that made my decision.
We'll go ahead and get it to Danny to the back right of the coaches.
Chris, Keegan James has had some ups and downs during the year, but he really gave you a good outing last week in Hoover. Just talk about his importance to the bullpen and what guys like that mean to you as you go through a tournament atmosphere.
Well, Keegan has so much experience. I mean, he's, all our bullpen, some of them older guys, we really need them. I mean, you need them all the way through the process, the depth of your pitching in this, unless you just dominate 1, 2, 3, is the depth of pitching in tournament play is huge. We saw it last week, and Keegan gave us a great outing last week, gave us a good one the week before, and we're looking forward to it. He has great stuff, and he's a veteran guy. If I'm not mistaken, he was on the mound there at the end of the Super Regional last year, and so not many kids can say that. So those are some of the senior guys that we're really looking to lean on.
We'll get it to Tyler here to the front.
Staying with the bullpen, you talk about senior guys, but you also have some younger arms there who might make an impact this weekend, one of them being Eric Sarantola. Do you think that he might come out and pitch a few innings this week, and what has he meant to your bullpen as he starts to come back and get back into a rhythm?
He's been really good the last couple of weeks. He's on our roster this weekend. I expect to use him. I mean, it's power stuff, and he's got a lot of confidence right now, and he has a chance to be a difference maker in one of these games.
Got time for a couple more for the coaches. We'll go back to Ben.
Sticking with pitching, with Peyton starting again in Hoover, how much have you guys gotten to work with him just to keep him fresh every week?
He actually pinned today. So, getting him out there in Hoover was good, to get him out there in a situation. This time of the year, sometimes it's good to get a little rest. So I think he'll be available later in the weekend, but his pin was today and feeling good. So we'll have him, available.
We'll go to Tyler, then Tom, and then Joel, and that'll be it.
Going back to Elijah for one more, is it more so how he feels, or is it if he's cleared, he's pretty much full go?
No, it'll be how he feels, and it'll be a little precautionary too. I mean, the players at this time of year, they're all going to tell you they're ready to play, ready to go. And you got to get somebody, somebody who hasn't played in 2 weeks needs it, I don't know about throwing them out there full speed right out the chute, especially in this type of competition.
Go ahead, Tom, in the back.
Coach, obviously a lot of the guys on the roster have postseason experience, but from your perspective, what does experience mean? Like, what are some of the things that can apply to postseason play that can give maybe an advantage over others that haven't experienced it?
I just think it's the ability to play free. Some of our guys have been there, done it. We spoke in the locker room a little bit earlier. Usually in any postseason run, you fall behind. There's games that you have to fight back, and you can't lose. Lose your cool, I guess you could say, in those moments. And that group in there laughed because they really had to fight back last year. And so knowing that it's not over until the last out, and handling the environment piece. For us, it feels like postseason baseball a lot of weekends when you just play here. I mean, when you play LSU at home, when you play Auburn at home, when you play Georgia at home, that feels like postseason. So that's where I think the advantage comes for us, is being able to handle the atmosphere.
And we'll wrap it up with Joel here in the middle.
Coach Westy and Jake have both kind of been struggling a little bit the last several weeks and things. Just what have you seen from them this week? And has this, in your opinion, I guess, been a good time for them to have that mental break over the course of the last week, to not have a game to worry about, trying to get their swings straight?
Well, that's how the game goes. I mean, I always got somebody who's hitting really good in the lineup, and I usually have somebody who's struggling a little bit. And that's where the depth of our lineup has helped us. But we took Saturday and Sunday off, and I told the guys, don't hit, don't do, even though I think Jake hit. But we've had a long week. I mean, we didn't have a midweek. We've been here. We usually don't practice on Monday, so we put a lot of time into hitting mechanics and just feeling good and doing some fun things there. And they've both been really good. They're great players. So they just, the game's, it has its highs and lows, and how we handle it is the key. But I expect those two guys to come out and be in the moment.
Thank you, coaches. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Can I say one more thing?
Of course, absolutely.
Across the country, we're bringing out our volunteer assistants. So as you see them get interviewed this weekend, just trying to make that position more visible across the country, because I guess everybody knows we lost the third assistant vote in baseball, and hopefully as the weekends go on, our volunteer assistants, Cheese right here works probably as many hours as I do and stresses as much as I do. And these positions, we really feel like they're important positions, and the player-to-coach ratio should be equal to the other sports. And so as you see this weekend go across, that's why I brought Cheese today, even though he knows our players, and he'll tell you he coaches more hours than I do and probably stresses more than I do. But we've been together a long time. But as you see, our volunteer coaches, we'd like to get them in the spotlight because we feel their value is as much as anybody's in college baseball. Thank y'all. Hail State.
Thanks, Kyle.